Hey, so this will be, I guess, the first video that I put on YouTube in quite some time. Um, Second ever, I think. And this is going to be very short. And as you can see, the lighting quality is, I'm, I'm not particularly putting a lot of effort in to that at this point, because this is meant to be a very iterative process. Primarily with this video, all I'm interested in doing is just bringing into discussion some topics that I feel are incredibly important, like the most important. Um, and to give a little bit of background, because I think this is going to be um, the first in a long series of videos where I develop and refine this message and the messages that I bring um, simply by virtue of doing something consistently, repeatedly. All those repetitions make you better at something. Um, so, what I want to talk about today is value, right? Um, so, something that I've been thinking a tremendous amount about recently, um, since I am, 26 right now, and I am an engineer working for a renewable energy startup technology company, which is really exciting. Um, and then hopefully in a year or two's time, I'm able to look back on this video and see how far down that road I've gone, but that's going to be a discussion for another time. But what's been on my mind is what really is valuable to pursue in life. And the reason that I am asking that question is because I recently sort of hit an inflection point in my life due to a very unique, let's say, relationship with somebody. Um, and what that relationship, which was brief, opened my mind to was just how incredibly powerful all of us are, and just how much is possible when we apply ourselves, just how much of our capacity we can access to make incredible things happen in our lives and in the lives of other people if we only just put our minds to it and stick with it through the pain period. And that's the tough part. That's where a lot of people fall off. So, given that, it's made me realize that um, you can pursue anything you want in this life, right? You have, I don't know, let's say you live to be 100. Let's say you retire in your 60s. Let's say you have 50 productive years. It's a lot of time. And it's also not a lot of time, I guess, depending on how you're looking at it. In my opinion, it's not a lot of time. And so the question is, what can I do with this time? What really is valuable? And here's my opinion. My definition, right, for what is valuable right now in the year 2022 is reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And here's why. So I'll constantly, probably because of the algorithm on YouTube, I don't want to say bombarded with advertisements for, I don't know, like Amazon FBA and drop shipping and, how to make yourself the most successful life coach on Instagram, how to create a master class and sell it. And all that's cool, right? I mean, and generally how these things are pitched is, oh, I made $2 million in 6 months. I made $10 million in 1 year. I went from broke to, $100 million in like 3 years, or whatever, crypto, digital real estate itself, whatever. And like, I'm pro capitalism, I'm pro money, I'm pro being paid for your efforts. Like, personally, like, get rich. I hope to be wealthy um, in the future. I think I already am in a lot of ways. not just materially, but blessed in my relationships, and blessed in the experiences that I've had. Um, so that's all cool, right? Go get rich. But ask yourself, what really is the value of getting rich? What really is achieved by you accumulating wealth, right? How does it actually serve you? And how does it serve other people? How does it serve the world at large? Um, and I would, I would submit that pursuing wealth simply for the sake of wealth or to accumulate material things will not just not fulfill you, it will actively make you less happy and less grounded, and it will dilute your identity with possessions. Um, right now, it's 2022. We have an extremely serious problem that we collectively, as a human species, and even more than that, as a collection of all the different species that live on planet Earth, all of us face the problem of we're putting a lot of heat trapping gases, carbon dioxide, methane, um, refrigerants, the list goes on, into the atmosphere where they are accumulating. They're not cycling back out. And they are causing more energy to be trapped by the atmosphere of our planet. And that's raising the global average temperature. And it's doing so at an unprecedented rate. And I think it is incredibly easy to underappreciate or underestimate just how significant the effects of this warming will be to the world and also to us personally. I live in Louisiana. By 2040, if we keep burning fossil fuels or putting greenhouse gases into the atmosphere at the rate that we currently are, I want to say something like 1 out of every 8 days in my hometown of New Orleans will be too hot and too humid to exercise or work outside. So suffocatingly hot. And I mean that's just being uncomfortable. I mean, we're talking about higher incidence of wildfires in the drier parts of our country, like or the world. So consider like the wildfires in California, we're talking more intense storms, so more Hurricane Idas, more Katrinas, more Marias, more Harveys. Um, we're talking about a disruption of agricultural yields, so higher cost of food and a greater scarcity of food. We're talking about higher sea level rise, so people having to move away from the coast, being displaced. We then have to resettle those people. The logistics associated with all of that are appalling, and frankly, this will mess with human lives. This will greatly damage the prospects of life for hundreds of millions of people. And it is something that all of us, to some degree, actively have the opportunity to fix. Consider this: any amount of greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, the list, or whatever, that you can keep out of the atmosphere, while you will not readily be able to see the effect of that action, will result in less warming and will result in less damage and destruction in the future. The vision I have that really keeps me going, and not just helps me keep my head above water when we think about this really scary, frankly, problem, really scary and complex and difficult to solve. problem. The vision that keeps me going is of a very specific moment called drawdown, at which the concentration, so actually just one number, which is how concentrated um, these greenhouse gases are in the atmosphere, stops rising and starts decreasing. That will be a pivotal moment because it will signal, practically speaking, the first time in human history that we have stepped out of the fire age. That we, at that point, or let me say modern human history, at that point, able to live sustainably on this planet. And that, oh, and by the way, in reaching that point, we secure a safe and healthy future for every generation of human beings that will ever live on this planet, ever in the future, ever, and every plant and animal species that does or ever will. It is practically impossible to overstate just how important this is and just how incredible it is that we in this generation have the chance to make this difference. I mean, like, this is the stuff of legend, right? This is this is the stuff that centuries from now human beings will look back and say, that was the moment. That was the moment that made the difference. And they did it. So when I think of value, yeah, you know, if that's your thing, open up an Amazon storefront and start selling stuff that's produced in other parts of the world and distributing that here and make money. Do that if that's your thing. I would challenge you to look even higher and ask yourself, what can I do? What can myself and my team and my network do to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases that we're putting into the atmosphere? Because that is valuable beyond words. And by the way, I should add, it's also likely to be the most profitable in the long term. Right? I'm going to say it again, most profitable in the long term. I believe I'll have to address, I'm choosing to provide more information in other videos, but the bold long-term investments that people are scared of, but that need to be made, those are the ones that pay off the most handsomely. Think Tesla. All right, I guess that's it for this video. I'll pick it up with a related topic soon.